Hey guys, how's it going? Dude here, I'm back with another video. In today's video, we are revisiting a topic that I have discussed in the past. It's a paranormal phenomenon known as time slipping. Now, obviously, you know, time travel is something I've discussed a lot on this channel. You can have a time machine, you go back and forward, and that's highly disputed as to whether that is something that is possible or not. But then there is another form of time travel known as time slips, time slipping, where literally you are just going about your day and you will slip into a different time period. Now, if you want to check out the first video that I've done on time slips, then I highly recommend you do that. Just type in Dude Run on time slip and you will find it there. Before I get into the video though, if I could give a quick shout out to my patron of the day, Neil Redfern. Thank you so much for being a patron, Neil, and to all my patrons over there. I do bonus content, I do exclusive videos and behind the scenes stuff. Lots of just cool stuff for as little as £1 a month. So if you want to support me, head over to my Patreon. Okay, so time slips. It's a phenomenon that absolutely fascinates me. I love reading stories on time slips, and I wanted to do a video on time slips once more because my friend sent me a voice note out of the blue, Bailey, who I do paranormal investigations with, and apparently his grandmother has a story of time slipping, and we'll be hearing from Bailey in a little while to tell us that story. But before we go there, in the previous time slipping video, I told a story of a man who split off from his wife when going shopping. He wanted to go and buy a CD, and as he went over to the CD shop, he basically slipped through time and it changed to a Crips store, which is a completely different store, but was there in like the 50s, I think. I'm literally taking this from memory. But the key is, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because you can just go watch my first video if you want to see that. But the key detail, which I didn't realize at the time of doing my first video, was he was on Bold Street in Liverpool. Now, apparently, this street in central Liverpool has quite a history of time slipping, and many people have time slipped into different eras near, on, or around that street. And I thought we'd take a little look at some of those today, and then hear the very eerie time slipping story from Bailey's grandmother. Okay, so this is from a girl called Grace, and this was told in 2016. This happened to me in Bold Street around the late 90s in exactly the same place as shown on the photo of Waterstone's bookshop. I stepped out of Central Station next to the Lyceum and put my foot on the road to head across to Waterstone's. In a split second, the scene changed, and a hansom cab went past me heading towards the cathedrals, followed by lots of people in what I can only describe as being like the people on the Quality Street tins. I'm hopeless at history, so I don't have a clue what era they were. It was the hats I noticed most as I tried to take in what I was seeing. The ladies wore bonnets with brims and the gents wore top hats and dark suits. Several couples walked straight past me as if they didn't see me. I immediately thought I must have walked into a film set, but there were no cameras about. And anyway, I couldn't have, because when I stood on the pavement, everyone was in the present time. Yet as soon as I stepped onto the road, everything went into a different dimension. At first, I was confused and scared, and then just really scared as I thought about what would have happened to me had I have been unable to step back into the present time again. Now, this is really interesting and a little bit different because, forgive me if I'm remembering my previous video wrong, but the time slips that I have heard before, they go into the time slip and then they come out again the other side, right? This seems to be one that she was in almost full control of, because if she stepped into the road, she stepped into a different time period, and if she stepped back, she stepped out of it, but then she was able to go back in again. Whereas from what I have researched on time slips, it's like a one and done. You're in, then you're out, and you can't go back. This seems to be a really different one, because like I say, she can step into it, have a look, and step out again, and then step back in. Very, very interesting. And again, it's Bold Street in Liverpool. Seems to be a real hot spot for this kind of stuff. And it's a place where I think I would quite like to take a look at myself. I think I might have to go to Bold Street. If you want me to go to Bold Street, leave a comment down below. Maybe leave a like as well. Let's hear from Linda about Bold Street. Something weird happened to me today in Bold Street. I was looking for a newly opened shop called Cow. I was told that it was next to Costa Coffee Shop, but when I got there, the shop next to Costa was empty with just some old stuff lying around inside. Looked like it had been empty for a long time. I continued to walk up Bold Street, but I couldn't find the shop. Turned round and walked back, then went into Costa and asked in there about this new shop. The person I asked said, yes, it's next door, you have just walked past it. Feeling silly, I went back outside, and there it was, just as she said, with a large yellow sign saying Cow in the window. I had never heard of Bold Street time slips before, but on telling a friend what had happened to me, he told me about the phenomena. Unfortunately, I didn't see anything from the 1940s, 50s, or 60s, but I did see an empty shop. I just love these stories, because it's just like, imagine if that happened. I often think about, these investigations that I do, right? Especially the abandoned places. Imagine, say, the farmhouse I went to, right? Imagine I just walk through one of the doors and it's just... Or the mental asylum in Lincoln. Imagine I walk through one of the doors and it's just restored to whenever its prime was, It would be equally fascinating and terrifying, I feel. Time slips. I love them. This one from Boily Moocan, 2015. Ranelagh Street, Central Station. When I was 20, about 24 years ago, I was making my way through Liverpool to see my girlfriend. I needed to catch a train from Central Station, which, as you may know, is right in the area of Bold Street. So as usual, I walked down the large ramp that led from Ranelagh Street, you can see it on Google Street View, into the station and towards the entrance at the far end. Casually glancing around, I wasn't really paying much attention. Man on a mission, my lady was waiting. I shot a look to the right and registered something odd straight away. My pace slowed, though I kept walking. There on the right was a coffee shop. It had sprung up out of nowhere. At the time, I thought it was odd, as my girlfriend and I often went to places around there, and only the other day had walked down the ramp, and that coffee shop was definitely not there. And neither had anyone been working on any such shop either. To make the situation even stranger, everyone in the shop and the few that were sat outside were all dressed in very old clothes. I'm guessing now, looking back at it, it was around the 1900s. The women that I saw were wearing large hats and looked very out of place. My first thoughts were, is something being filmed? And maybe it was a special day the coffee shop was doing and everyone was getting dressed up. So I just put down my lack of noticing it there before as being one of down to age and not really paying attention. I have changed. I glanced again to make sure I wasn't going to walk into someone, and when I immediately looked back, the cafe/coffee shop was gone. At the time, I just put it down to me being weird, but it was only recently that I heard about time slips and made the connection, and it bugs me to this day that I didn't just walk over to the cafe and talk to people there. However, I was really freaked out, and whilst others have said I'd ask someone to look me up, I can assure you that the actual event is so disconcerting that you don't think along those lines. The first emotion you experience is fear and an overriding sense that something is very wrong. And I can completely kind of understand that. I think, I know people are like, oh, well, why don't you take a picture and all that sort of stuff. I just think you'd be so freaked out and so like, oh my goodness, first of all, can I get back? Am I going to be able to get back to my own time? It's very interesting that a few people have said, oh, is this a film set? That's quite a logical step to take, if I walked into a movie being filmed, a period drama being filmed or something like that, that would make a lot of sense. But obviously when there's a lack of cameras or, and it just seems like normal life, then it probably is not the case. But yeah, okay, I'm going to pass us over to my friend Bailey now, who is going to tell us a little story that he has heard from his grandmother about time slips.
Hello mate, you alright? Just went to see me nan, as you do, being a good grandson, dropping her birthday card off and just saying hello, etc. We got to talking about like weird things in the world and that, And my nan thinks she experienced a time slip. Is that what they're called? Like when you like go back in time, like for whatever. Well, anyway, right? They was in. They were driving up to Scotland or something. There were 4 of them driving up to Scotland, and it got late, and they decided to pull over at this like roadside sort of motel thing, like Holiday Inn sort of thing. So they went in, checked in, and they said, "Oh, this is the last. You're our last customers. This is the last night we're going to be open." Blah 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 blah. And like, okay, that's strange. Went upstairs, went to bed. Come down in the morning, went to pay, and they said, "Don't bother about paying. It's the, you know, this is the last night. We're going to be packing up. We're going to be going." So they said, "All right, okay, thank you very much." Blah blah blah. When we're on our way back, we'll stop in and we'll see you again. Apparently that's what old people do, but you know, whatever. This was like years ago, by the way. I don't know when it was, but a long time ago. And they you know, this was back in the day where it was all like pictures had to get developed, right? So Phil, who my nan was with at the time, set up his camera, and they took a picture of them in front of the motel, and their friend that they were with also took a picture of the 4 of them in front of the hotel. And you know, they went on and carried on with their journey. Phil, apparently he was quite impatient with things, and he wanted to get, because he had the camera the film was full up already, so he wanted to get it developed so he can look through the film. And they got the pictures developed, and the picture of the 4 of them standing in front of the hotel was no longer a picture of them standing in front of a hotel. It was a picture of them standing in an empty field, which is pretty weird. So the other bloke they were with, who also took a photo of the 4 of them in front of the hotel, said, "Oh, I'll get them developed as well." He got them developed. Same thing. He got 2 sets developed. Same thing happened. 4 of them standing in front of the hotel. They were no longer standing in front of the hotel. They were standing in front of an empty field. So they had their holiday. They drove back like 3 days later, or whatever it was. Went back the same route, and there was no sign of this fucking hotel ever being there. Like, it looked like it was just a fucking empty field. But she said like the decor inside was like really old-fashioned, but it was really well kept. But it's just fucking weird, isn't it, mate?
So there we go. What do we think about that story? How horrendous would that be? Just put yourself in those shoes, okay? Just imagine that scenario. Imagine it through its entirety, and that you are in that situation. I think that would blow my mind and freak me out forever. It really would. I absolutely love time slips. What do you think about time slips? What was your favourite time slip of the day? Let me know. Let me know down below. If you experience a time slip, please do let me know. And if you want to ping me an email with your time slip, dudyrunner@gmail.com. So, yeah, feel free to do that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I really do. Hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. If you want to see some more time slip content, let me know. I'll research some more and I'll bring more to you. Thank you. If you want to support me that little bit extra, £1 a month, you can go over to my Patreon and get lots of bonus content there. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. I will speak with you very soon. Sweet one. Geese.